Hello, I'm here today with Matt Hoffman, who's the winner of the Devil's Due Trauma Comic Contest. He got flown out here to beautiful San Diego, California for the Comic-Con convention. We're at Comic-Con today.
How did you win the Trauma contest?
I went online and I heard there was a Trauma graphic novel coming out, so I researched it and found it was through Devil's Due Publishing, and I entered through a contest on the website and I won, and it was a fantastic prize.
Awesome.
I'm very honored to have won the contest. It was called Average Joe, and it was the 4th installment of this horrendous series.
And what major television conglomerate devil was putting out this show, Average Joe?
It was NBC, the network butt-fucking cocksuckers, I think is what that stands for. And the premise of the show is that there's a hot chick, and she thinks she's going to be on a dating show where she meets hot guys, and she gets stuck with people like me and other, fat guys and tall guys and short guys and socially awkward people. And then she has to decide, to date one of us or to pick from another group of hot guys. I got involved in the reality show because at the time I had a girlfriend and we were watching commercials, and there was a commercial for casting for this show, and I knew that they always need a short person with a good personality, so I made a bet with my girlfriend at the time that I could get on this show. And so I made a real cheesy video and sent it in.
Do you still have that video?
No, that's property of NBC right now.
Wow. And this was a national show, yeah?
It was a national show on NBC, primetime NBC. I got flown to LA, and there was like a 10-day kind of audition process where you were interviewing with producers and just kind of doing a lot of bullshit. To get into the contract thing, we have to sign a thick, 70-page contract with tons of stuff. And if we dismember you, it's okay, it's not our fault. And one of the things in this contract that you just look over and sign because you don't think about it is that they can perform any sort of surgical procedure on you. And so again, you just sign it because you figure they're never going to call you on it. And turns out the twist on my season of the show was that every week, one person that got kicked off actually got taken away and was given plastic surgery. So they ended up actually capitalizing on the contract and performing surgery on people.
The contract was with an independent company, no?
No, the contract was with NBC Studios. It had the big peacock logo right in the top there.
Didn't the people who get plastic surgery, didn't they want it, or did
they? I think they may have been happy with it in the long run, but I can't say that for sure. But to say they wanted it, absolutely not. They didn't want it.
When I first heard about the makeover, I was really shocked because I wasn't expecting it.
What happened is when we left, I was in a group of 6 people that got kicked off at the time, and I was the 5th person in line leaving, and the guy who got the surgery was behind me. And we were just walking up, and we thought that we were going to walk into this limo and get driven away. And the limo door kind of shut behind me, and they just took this kid away.
Did they bring them back onto the show?
They brought them back on, and in a true testament to superficiality, the woman actually in the end picked a person she picked off, and then picked him when he came back with the plastic surgery. So
oh man!
So
she kicked him off because he was not attractive, and then he got his teeth redone and cheekbones lifted and hair plugs or whatever, and then came back, and he ended up getting the girl at the end. No, I do not feel I was accurately represented at all. What they did, there was actually lines of dialogue that we had to read, and it sounded nothing like I would actually speak. They actually made me out to be an extremely pathetic, sad sap that curses God every day for this horrible stature that I was given.
What was an example of where they made you behave differently?
Well, repeatedly, they'd just give you things to say, and you have to say them, and I'm not an actor, so I'd have to do these take after take after take because they needed things to be convincing enough. So they'll say what's your job? And I'd say, I do web development. And they're like, aren't you in a band? And I go, yeah. They're like, well, say I'm Matt Hoffman and I'm a musician. And I'm like, all right, I'm Matt Hoffman and I'm a musician. They're like, no, say I'm Matt Hoffman and I'm in a band. And I'm like, I'm Matt Hoffman, I'm in a band. And they're like, no, we don't like that. And they'll just completely skew stuff about you.
What percentage of the people on that show would you say are professional actors?
Professional aspiring actors, 90% of them. There was 20 people on the show, 16 people. Me and 2 other people just wanted to go on vacation There were 2 people that actually really wanted to find love on television, and then the whole rest of the bulk of them were just actors that just wanted to do acting and be on TV. In fact, a good portion of them had agents that got them the jobs to be contestants on the show.
They give you scripted lines in this show, but it's a reality show, they say. So it's not like you're going to Traumaville and you're going to shoot a trauma movie and you know that you're going to be playing Kabuki Man, so you're just doing the part. This is like Matt Hoffman going out there to the world as Matt Hoffman. Like, how did you feel about how people were perceiving you?
That was the worst part about the whole thing, to be honest. It was that misrepresentation because, my friends laugh at it, they see it, and they know it's not me, and they know it's not how I am, and we joke about it, and they still give me shit to this day about stuff that they made me say on the show. But like, for instance, a great example is people from my office, from work. I'm not close with them, but I see them every day. I never hang out with them. They don't know about me, and they find out about this show, which I tried to keep from them, but they see it in the papers and stuff, and they heard. And now these people probably, now I have to come into the office the next day, and now they think they know me, and they are so far off base. And just that, I have been, not ever anymore because it's so long ago, but at the time the show was on, I had been recognized just out at the store and stuff. And no one said, hey, you're a douchebag, but you think that they're thinking that, because they do know who you are and they just know you're from this TV show, so.
In fact, that's not who you are at all.
That's not at all, and they make money, and they make huge amounts of money because we don't get paid. We're not actors, we're not paid, we're not in a union or a guild. They just use us and throw us away, and when they're done with us, they just cash in all this money. It's the cheapest shows to produce. I got paid a per diem of $75 a day, but only for the 10 days of the audition process. Once the show started taping, you got no money at all.
So you made $750. These people are getting plastic surgery from NBC against their will for $750 for 2 weeks of work. That's like trauma money.
Yeah.
Right there.
Probably.
But you're not going to get plastic
money.
surgery, though, and trauma money.
The NBC are such a bunch of cocksuckers, too, because they were really, they were just kind of notoriously cheap about things. They set us up in a really great mansion and got us, good food and everything like that. But as far as when it came to letting us kind of do what we want and have fun and everything, it was just, I wanted to go on the show for a vacation, and they knew that. I was very upfront with them about that from the very get-go. And then as soon as I got in the house and it was kind of, you were locked under the contract and you signed the papers, they just turned it all around, and it was just like a prison, Another funny thing about reality shows, you think that they're taping you all the time. You think that there's cameras going and they're just following everything that's going on. And in reality, there was maybe one camera, and not always there ever. We'd be hanging out in the house, bullshitting, drinking and stuff in the mansion, and there'd be no one around, and they missed some funny shit that was going on. And then all of a sudden, a camera guy would come in, he'd go, you go play pool, talk about this. And then he'd tape for 5 minutes, and they go and walk away. And then
that sounds really realistic of what you guys were really doing in the house. This reality TV sounds like it's.
Yeah, it was very offensive.
It
was offensive. The contract, I thought I was just signing things and I would go on the show. It's on for a couple weeks, and it turns out that it is a 3-year contract that was bound to NBC for 3 years. Anytime I wanted to be on any kind of film or radio media, that includes, things. Look at that.
NBC's in the house.
NBC. So I'm getting banned. I just said that 3 years is up. Anytime I wanted to be on any kind of film or radio, this includes with the band, which caused a lot of troubles. For 3 years, I had to call NBC or email them. I had a contact that I had to consult and make sure that it was clear. You had to do appearances. You were contracted to, if they needed to do a reunion show, you had to do that no matter what, which the show is a piece of shit, so they didn't do that. No one cared about a reunion. I had to do different little quirky things for NBC, bar appearances. I judged a bikini competition.
What was a bar appearance like?
You'd sit there and no one knew who you were or cared who you were, and probably the guys didn't want you there. The girls really didn't care, but you drank for free, which is, I guess, probably one of the coolest things that came out of the whole thing is getting free alcohol from NBC.
So 2 weeks he was taping, and then you're in a contract with the NBC for 3 years, you said. How did that make you feel, knowing that all this time has gone by and they're still got the leash around your neck?
It's weird. I think it'd be weirder if I was in the entertainment industry more and pursuing things, but it's strange. I know it had to have screwed over a lot of the people on the show because a lot of them were actors, and I'm sure they got kind of dicked over in the whole deal.
What does NBC do if you break your contractual obligation of 3 years of total silence?
The contract says $1 million fine, and I don't know where they'd get $1 million from me. I don't think my life is worth $1 million, but they are definitely hardcore about that because people got a hold of my email address and phone number just through the internet and stuff after the show aired. And they'd ask me questions, and I would answer them in ways not really giving anything away at all. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I didn't know because I left the show so early. But the producers, within a week were calling me and saying, I heard you're emailing people and talking to people, you better watch yourself.
Would the papers talk to you or the media?
The media would talk to me. Everyone on the show was assigned a PR representative, each contestant. And anytime you talk to a newspaper or radio, television, the PR rep would have to be on the phone or sitting next to you if it was a radio or TV. And anytime you said something that didn't mesh with what you were supposed to be saying, and this is not about like legal things and giving away the show. This is just about like saying the wrong thing or telling about reality. The PR person would stop you and then turn to the interviewer and say, we can't use that. There's a big paper in Chicago called the Daily Herald, which goes out to a number of people all throughout Chicago. Big publication, and they did an interview on me before the show started. I had to do a lot of press interviews. And it was just a write-up. Then the day that my episode ended where I got kicked off, I opened the paper the next morning and there is a very brief blurb saying Chicago's Matt Hoffman, the virgin from Average Joe got kicked off. And now I have nothing against virgins at all. I just am not one myself. So I called the Herald and I said, I find this very, Lloyd, you know about this. And I called them and I said, I don't care about being a virgin. If that were the case, I'm like, but you guys printed this. I think that's kind of weird. Where'd you get this? Because you didn't even talk to me. And they apologized and said they printed a retraction, to which I said that seems even more awkward than printing that I was a virgin in the first place. So they said, well, we want to send someone out to your house to do a follow-up article. I don't think I'm interesting enough to do one article about, let alone a second follow-up. So they send this woman over to my house, and she's clearly scared off her ass because her editor probably reamed her out for making this error. And I was trying to calm her down and be very nice to her. And they printed this follow-up article, and it was very just bullshit, like filler, just so that they could get this in there. And in the middle of the article, extremely awkwardly placed, is this thing about like, and look out, ladies, because, Matt Hoffman isn't saving himself like we said. It's very strange, and then I cut it out and clipped the article.
So are you glad to be out? Your contract must be done if you're
My
able
contract
to
is
speak
done, and
freely.
that's why I'm giving Troma the exclusive expose, the tell-all.
Nice.
All those people.
Well, it looks like it appears that somebody wants to use the room, so
Say thank you
Guess
to
we-
Matt. Thank you very much, Matt Hoffman. This is the real Matt Hoffman.
Real. This
here.
is reality.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Troma.
Thank you.